Okay. Ron, are you going to say a prayer for us to start us out?
Sure. And then play the song.
Yep.
Okay.
Then play.
All right.
Okay.
Father Sky, Mother Earth, all our ancestors, all our relatives, we call upon you at this time, and we ask, Most High, Most Divine, that you open this circle and allow your spirit to enter this group conversation that we're having. We ask that you fill Pam with your spirit and your love and your grace, and help the words to flow effectively and move our hearts in powerful ways. We thank you for this opportunity to hear a lesson. We ask that for your presence in this circle, and we ask you bless and guide us during this day. We love you and we thank you. All right, I'll play the song.
There's Sherry.
Grande Espíritu, agradezco Pachamama, Wakantanga, Tonkashila, agradezco Pachamama, en el cielo, con los pájaros que vuelan, las oraciones y amor, misterio de la luna, amor, mi vida preciosa, amor, dame fuerza, amor, confía, medicina. I crossed over anxious spirit, lost my knowing, confused senses, ancient voices, spill the secrets, taking footsteps with our mother, all related, broken hearted, no more darkness. With this love, we are related in love. Give me strength in this love. We are related in love. Give me strength in this love. Na 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 na, yeah, na na
That was so incredibly beautiful. All yours.
Thank you. I'm so grateful to sit here today, because there's so much that has changed in my life. I said to Susan yesterday, I said, it is amazing that we have come this far from when we started with Shahowin, and I am so very grateful. I've always knew I had it in me, but we'll see if I'm doing a very good job or not. But it's all not about doing it great. It's about, and it's not about not making a mistake, because I could do that too, but it's about love. It's about love. It's about the love we have in between us. And that love is what that enables us to make mistakes and to get back up. And it's okay. And that's what this is what Shahowin's teachings have done for me, is saying, you're okay, Pam. It's okay. You are worthy, you are worth something, and you have value. And that is so beautiful, so beautiful, when you've come from a long line of devaluing you and telling you that you're broken, and that you're, you know, you were born with all this sin, and your innate value is dark and ugly, but that's not the way it's supposed to be. That is not it. We choose. I was sitting in my room the other day, and I was doing a little meditation to start my day, and the thought came to my head, to look at the opposites of the 7 grandfather teachings. Okay. And if you list them down, you've got love, honesty, respect, humility, courage, generosity, wisdom. If you walk in those 7 grandfather teachings, you'll get along with everybody, and you'll be able to walk in a way of love, and walk a path of beauty. The other side, though, is at the very top is fear. If we choose fear, just 1 second of being afraid, guess what? The rest of them come down too. It's like dishonesty. If you're afraid, you lie. If you're afraid, you disrespect other people because you're pushing them away. If you're afraid, you're pride. You think you're better than everyone else. And if you're afraid, you're coward. You just don't have the courage to deal with it. And if you're afraid, greed comes in, and ignorance. And that's what we see in the world today, is so much fear that has produced all of these things. We see them every day on our television, in our politicians, and in the everyday life. But this is where that love is the greatest thing of all, and that's the reason I like that song, because we are love, and the connections that we have with everything around us is love. I saw a picture of a man that stands in a circle. Okay, there's like a circle, and there's a man there with his arms out like this and his feet stretched out, and there's all these little cords of strings coming out from him, and it's going out into the world and connecting to everything outside, and that's what I kind of wanted to share about this morning, is energy strands, and how those things connect to us and how they affect us. It's in our relationships, it's in our it's in things. You can have an energy strand to this book, and you can be so possessive over this book that you would say, don't anybody touch that book. That is an energy strand that's really not a good strand to have, because you cannot be so attached to things that the love makes no difference. You know what I mean? Because the love is where we want to walk. So I'm going to start with my little notes here. I got quite a few notes, so I hope I don't go too long, and I hope I don't go too fast, because I want you to understand what I'm saying. It's the nature of human beings to get attached to other people. We do have attachments to other people. Some of those attachments are light, and some of those attachments are dark. And that comes perhaps from the beginning, where we were born attached to our mothers. It's a natural human thing. It's such an energy thing, because we are connected to everything around us. Our attachments are how we are connected to the world around us on a deep level, even subconsciously. We can sense the strands of energy that attach us to the world around us, even if we can't see them. They are real. Yeah, you're walking, example is you're walking to Walmart, you know, Walmart has definitely some energy. There's definitely some energy there. And there are times when you meet a person and there's you can feel their energy, you know. Um, our white man ways, you know, had taught us that we're not supposed to listen to those gut feelings. We should not listen to that sensitivity that we are born with, you know, the gifts, you know. Our feelings are important. And unless we deal with those feelings, we're not going to be able to understand how powerful we are, how much love we're connected to, you know, how much joy is there if we walk in love, you know, as opposed to fear, you know. Okay, this talks about when two people interact, energy cords are formed, okay? Strong emotions will travel quickly, like love, fear, physical pain, and pleasure, knowledge, and wisdom. Those things are all on the cords that attach us to other people, you know, and those emotions, those strong emotions will make a stronger connection, you know, like if you have a friend who's very much hurt you, you know, but you were very close, you know, the connection that you have to that person is still there, you know, and that cord can bring suffering because you want to fix that relationship and you can't. I mean, there's nothing you can do, and then you hang on to it so tight, you know, that it brings you pain, you know. Some cords are vibrant and helpful, and some deplete us and weaken us. Okay, so this is some relationships I've had in the past. I remember this lady I worked with, and she was so needy all the time, and she was so down and depressed, and every word she said was help me, help me, help me, help me, help me, you know. And if you're an empath, that will drain you because you want to help, you know, and you connect to their feelings, you know. But after, you know, some days of sitting beside her, I went out the door and I'm exhausted, you know. I am totally exhausted because her energy was so heavy and depressive, you know. Sometimes these strands are a way to gain information from you or even manipulate or control you. Okay, so someone can, some people are really good senders and some are good receivers. Okay, and some of us are both, you know, but a person who has the psychic abilities of sending can overwhelm you if you're not grounded and if you're not centered and you're not within your protective, you know, area. So we need to the purpose of this in the end here is to give us some tools to protect ourselves and some tools to cut off and remove some of those cords and strands that have connected us to past events and past relationships that were broken. You know, I remember I'm doing more talking than less reading. I remember the first guy I ever fell in love with, his name was Danny. And I just loved him so much. Of course, I was raised in a family where there was very little expression of love. So when I found somebody I really cared about, I clung to that. Like it was like he was like getting me, saving me out of the drink, you know? I mean, he was digging me out, you know, as what I felt like. I was just, and it was great for a little while, and then people started interfering, and also I scared him or something, but eventually it broke off. He broke off with me on Valentine's Day of all days. Okay. And you know what? I pined over that guy for 5 years. It just ruined my life, you know, 5 years Every day I would think about him and how much I wanted our relationship back. I was so desperate for love, but that cord that was created between us was so strong because, for one thing, I mean, we were close emotionally. There's one of the strong emotions, love, and we were close physically. Of course, we had sex, and we were close spiritually. We believed and felt the same kind of things. There was a strong connection, you know. And when he walked away, I was devastated. But you know, now, I mean, I understand better now what was happening, and I, you know, obviously I could fix that in a lot faster than 5 years. That was terrible. Some clairvoyants or psychics can see the cords that are attached to us. They normally run from the solar plexus to the solar plexus, but they can attach anywhere. Like your most powerful and strongest ones connect at the solar plexus, and they also will connect at places in your chakras where there's wounds from past experiences or weaknesses caused by unresolved trauma or unresolved, you know, feelings or things you haven't really dealt with from your past. We've dealt with a lot of things here. I mean, if we hadn't dealt with them, I couldn't be sitting here. I mean, I really couldn't be sitting here in one piece. And you know, and what's funny is that I sat yesterday and I'm studying and stuff, and I knew I just had a feeling this was coming, you know, and you know, I felt peaceful. I didn't have all these fear attacks going in on my head, you know. You're going to do a rotten job. You're going to screw this up, Pam. You're going to you're going to make a lot of mistakes. Nobody likes you, you know, that kind of stuff. It didn't come in, you know. And I was like, wow, something has changed. You know, something has changed. But I mean, now I am confident in the fact that I am connected to spirit, and I am connected in more ways than just, you know, and I'm connected to you guys, you know. I mean, the love that we've shared and the space that we've held for each other has just has really, and that unconditional love where it's okay, you know. I got to go back to what happened with Brandy when she was on here, okay? And she sat and she started, when she saw me, she said she saw all these dark strands and stuff in my house and all this depression and all these other things. And I'm sitting here thinking, oh my God, you know, 10 years of the crap that happened to me, no wonder they're there, you know? And then of course I panicked and said, what did I do wrong? What have I done that I should have done, you know? And guess what? Spirit told me, you're okay. You're okay. It's just things you're working on. You don't have to be perfect, Pam, you know. And but it came from years of trying to help my son who was a drug addict and my grandchildren who lost their mother, and I just was working so hard to fix everybody, you know. And I just feared so much that I wasn't doing the right thing, that I was making mistakes, you know. And I clung, and I had a really bad codependent protective thing with them, that I just wanted to fix them all the time. And I was desperate to fix my son, you know, because of his drug addiction. I was desperate. I couldn't let go. There was such a strand connected to me, to him, that I drained all of my energy for my son. I did it all. I drained it all for him and for my kids, my grandkids, you know, for 10 years. And I didn't have a lot to go with, you know. I was in a wheelchair and I was wounded from a car accident, and I couldn't walk right or anything like that. But I'll tell you what, when you love somebody, you will sacrifice everything, you know. And that's a problem. That's a problem, because you can get to the point where you have nothing left for yourself. And when I came to Shahowin's teachings and circle here, that's where I was. You saw me broken. You saw me connected to all this fear and all this paranoia. And I look back at my face, you know, in those times, and I think, oh my gosh, Pam, you were such a mess, you know. Wow, you know. And then when Shahowin, you know, counseled me and said, you need to go off by yourself and you need to pray and you need to connect to creator and to spirit, you know, and you need to pour it all out and you need to have confidence that there's an answer, you know. And I did that. I'll tell you what, it changed. Everything changed, you know. And it was, I mean, obviously it took a while. I mean, that happened probably in like May or June last year. Okay. And then by September, my son and all his children had moved out with his new wife. And that's what needed to happen because he needed to be on his own feet. He had enough of mommy taking care of him. He was tired of it, just like I was tired of it, you know. But it was good. It was good, you know. I'm going to go back to the stronger the emotions, the stronger the cord. You know, like I was saying, the emotion to try to fix my son was so strong, you know, that it drained me, you know. And when, you know, when Brandy said the thing she did, it triggered that thing in me that said, oh, what did I do wrong? What am I doing wrong? What can I fix? You know, what should I have done? I shouldn't have done, you know, and it wasn't that at all. But it took me down the rabbit hole, you know. It took me down the rabbit hole of thinking that, you know. So after that conversation with Randy, I was, the next day or so, I was walking around my living room, and I have a big bookshelf, and I have a lot of books on this shelf, you know. And then I saw this book, and I pulled it out, and I said, I think I'm going to read that book. It's called Clearing, A Guide to Liberating Energies Trapped in Buildings and Lands, you know, by Jim Pathfinder Ewing, a forward by Brooke Medicine Eagle. I read that book, and then I went back and I said, I saw this book online, Energy Strands. You know, those strands that are left over in my household are all the connections to all the pain and the sorrow that had been here, you know, all that time. Those energies will lay there and wait, you know. An example is if you go into, sometimes I've heard a lot of people that say they go into a house because they're going to see if they want to buy it, you know, they're going in to look at it, and they walk in and they just sense that there's something not right. And they go looking to the past history of the house and find that there was a person there who died, who had a lot of depression and who committed suicide or something else. And that energy is still sitting in that house. So, I mean, I want to get to, like, this time I want to cover more the connections that we have to ourselves. But Shahawin and I talked about doing something next time about what I did to clear the energy strands in my house. You know, I picked up several ceremonies from these books, and it was funny because I was not feeling good, and I knew I had to do it, you know. And I laid around in my bed and I started thinking, oh my gosh, Pam, you know, I don't have any energy to get up and do anything. I don't have any energy to get up and do this, you know. And so I put it off a day, another day, you know. And then one day I went in and lay down and did my meditation, you know. And I meditated for a while, and I laid there and I felt the presence of spirit. And I heard my guide say, get up now and do it. Okay, get up now and do it. All right. So I got up and I did it. But when the spirit tells you that, you better get up and do it, you know. You can't just wait around and say later on, you know. So I was glad I did it. A lot of things happened, and I'll share more about that probably next time. But I want to go back to some of the concepts, you know. And like here in Western culture, they see the world as containing separate and unrelated things. They feel that they are something separate and greater than it all. So the Western cultures don't even understand that these strands are there because they don't see them, and they won't open their eyes to see them, you know. And they are so alone in everything that they do because they do not know their connection and they do not understand their connection, Earth-based cultures knew how to sense the strands that improved life and how to diminish and release the strands that did not. Because of their earth connections, they understood that, and they could be free of this stuff that us Western cultures, we went around all the time thinking, we got it all together. We don't need anybody else, and that really leaves us very alone, very, very alone, They believed, this is the earth cultures believed, that humans had filaments of energy rooting us to the land as well as to each other. So the earth-based cultures felt that their roots went down into the land. They were connected to the land and the spirits of the land, and because of that, so many of them were just wanted to, when they were moved west and everything, they had a great desire to just come back to where they came from, because they had that connection that rooted them right to the energy from the earth, of the place where they were, I think Shahawin taught here back a while ago, that if you don't feel like you're connected to the land, you need to move, because the land is connected to you, and it will, in a lot of ways, it will work against you if you don't think where you're not supposed to be, and this all goes back to the sensitivity that we're allowed to have now. We're allowed to feel our gut feelings, we're allowed to listen to our feelings. We're allowed to work with them and understand ourselves. If we do that, understand ourselves and why we react the way we react, like we've done in all these classes, then we will be able to we'll be able to know the true connection that speaks from the gut, let's see, we live in a universe of energy, and at every point this energy is influencing and affecting you. There's a word, affinity strands is something they use. It's a natural connection to a person, thing, idea, an inherent likeness or agreement, a close resemblance or connection. Affinity is the force by which atoms are held together. So the creator made the connection of the atoms, and we're just an extension of that in our connection to everything around us. It's that affinity, the natural connection strands that we have. Let's see, 3 tenets about energy. Everything is composed of constantly changing energy. Shahawin taught us this. The vibration of the table is different than the vibration of my cup and coffee, the vibration, but it's still atoms moving together, it's just at a different rate of speed, the trees, same thing, obviously my flesh could easily, be ruined because my atoms aren't tightly moving here in this hand, but there's still energy there, we are not separate from the world around us. We are all a manifestation of pure energy. In other words, we're connected. We are connected to everything around us, everything has consciousness. In other words, one of the greatest things I felt and learned when I came into the Native way was that energy, that creator was in everything. And he was a part of everything. Therefore, he's a part of me, and that connection that I felt with everything around me at that point, and that was so real to me. And it was such a surprise, because I came from a Christian background where God was up there and you're down here, and you're not good enough. You're full of sin. You need to always repent. You need to do all this stuff. So, but that moment, I felt that affinity and connection. I did a painting on the wall over here. I don't want to show it to you, but just now I can't really. But it's a picture of animals and the sun and buffalo and trees and everything else. And it all across that is little dots, little dots, little dots of light, little dots of connection, those tiny little dots. And I still do that whenever I do a lot of artistic stuff. I like to put my little dots because that to me is a reminder that everything is connected and we're all part of that energy that creator sent to this earth. One of the things that everything has consciousness, and this was saying that the reason, one of the proof of that is that we have these longings and yearnings and rememberings of exquisite places of oneness and unity. It's like utopia. We believe that it's in our hearts to grasp for that. We have this thing where we want to go beyond time and space. We'll go out and look at the stars, and focus on the moon because we know and feel that there is a connection there, that goes beyond time and space, So, okay. The illusion of separateness is what produces pollution, hatred, greed, because we have no respect for the earth or each other if we're separate, if we're not a part of somebody, we will do produce things that create even more separateness. That's like that walking in fear and not in love. Because of that, we feel disconnected from the oneness. Let's see. The oneness helps us to broaden our sense of self beyond the boundaries of time and space, to encompass not just our home, but our community and the planet. If anybody knows anything about shamans, that's one of the things. They journey and they dream and they connect to the things around us, and they work on the energy that's there to try to transmute it, to change it into something beautiful. And the whole basis of that is the belief that we are beings of light and love. We are beings of light and love. We are spirit, and being spirit, our energy goes out and light disperses darkness, and we can get in that place of what the shamans call it Aini, okay, which is the place where we have a commitment, an agreement, okay, with spirit, that we will listen to him and do what he says when he calls, and he will be there for us when we have needs. Okay, that's the agreement of the shamans with spirit, and that's the place of Aini, which is love, the word for love, that place of love, and that agreement, and I find I live that more and more now, because I hear now spirit calling me. I hear his voice telling me to do things. I've gotten rid of a lot of the baggage, that had caused me to feel like all I felt was the pain and the suffering. I couldn't look beyond that. But now, after working with all the things we've done in the past year, that has released that hold on me. And now when I have a connection to the creator, and so many times when I need something, it's there. And when he calls, I answer it. When he calls, I answer. It's like, get up now and do it. And it is funny though, because there are times when you just hear that voice. I don't know if anybody's psychic or what do you want to call it, clairvoyant, clairaudient, there's a whole bunch of words for it, but it's the connection, it's the connection to spirit. And when he says, do something, we need to do it. And when we need something, he will be there, Like this morning, I called on my animal totems, I got an animal totem from a journey that I did with a shaman. And We went to this place and, we sat in this circle and we were waited and see what came to us, you couldn't prejudge it. You couldn't like say that this, well, I want the eagle, I want this, I want the hawk, I want the bear, I want these powerful, these powerful beings that, native people always have, what came to me? A freaking gorilla. A gorilla. And it was funny because that gorilla, your totems are kind of like similar to you in some ways. You wouldn't believe it. If you really identify with a totem, it's because there's something in you that draws that animal spirit, because you have a similarity to him. Okay, so imagine the totem of the gorilla. Big arms up, going like this, stepping slow and stepping wide, and that's me. It's me because I've had injuries in my hips and injuries in my back, and I'm heavy and I can't move fast because of the pain, and but he's powerful, that totem. He's powerful. And he doesn't have to walk fast. He doesn't have to walk fast to get there, because his strength is in his, in his affinity. Well, gorillas are scary, just like bears. It can be, but I really am grateful for the gorilla. But he has the softest hands, Gorillas have the softest skin, on their hands, and they won't look you in the eye because that's a threat, and that's my thing. I love my gorilla totem. And it's funny, but okay. There's all kinds of strands that connect to us. There's family strands, like strands that are caused from our family relationships of growing up. There's ancestor strands. There's strands that connect us to our ancestors, and the things that they went through. Those are connected to us too, And there's that's why a lot of Native people have fear and depression, because our ancestors went through a horrible time, and they had to really deal with those things, and we need to send love to them, those relatives, through time, and cut the cord of those events from their lives too, by changing that energy from fear to love. We have strands from enemies. People are connected to us because we connect to the anger, and we connect to the fear. It connects to us because we're afraid, and it connects to them because they're being a bully. They just want to hurt you, but when we are able to protect ourselves and be strong in our spirit, then we can cut that relationship. We can cut off that strand and forget. I do it by there's a ceremony. It's called a fire ceremony, and you take a stick and you blow into that stick the fears and the pain and everything, and the person, okay, but not the situation, okay, not what happened, but the person, okay, and the connection to them, and you burn that in the fire, okay, and that breaks the connection, and then you take the fire, and pull it over top of you and cleanse you and bring back love into yourself where that connection was. That's just a little journey, a little ceremony I do. Okay, some other chords are from lovers and sexual encounters. Now, when you have sex with somebody, it creates a cord that is not easily broken. You could go 10 years from now and run into that person and feel it, because it's there, and there was a connection, a very deep connection there, So I can't imagine somebody who's had sexual relationships with tons of people, because the feeling of being pulled apart, by so many connections like that, would be terrible. Anyways,
Pam,
yeah,
are you covering your microphone? Your sound just went really down.
no, um, I don't know. Is it okay now? I just turned it up.
Yeah, well, we can hear you. It's just changed a lot, but carry on. Thank you.
It might be the connection because we don't have the greatest Wi-Fi out here, and it comes and goes in its strength, I'll try to make sure I talk loud enough for you to hear me, One of the things that, let's see, repressed emotions or unresolved relationship issues, even family baggage, located in our chakras, make it possible for others to attach cords and drain our energy. Okay. If we have some unresolved fear, fear and unresolved anger and all those things, those will open a space in your chakra and your being for other things to attach, because like energy attracts like energy, so if you're an empath, it's even more likely that a cord can be attached to you because you are a big receiver. That means that you're very open, and you tend to collect everybody's negative energy, and that's like people who are empaths need to make sure that they do regular cleansing and regular cord cutting, to get that stuff out, because it can pull you down. I mean, if you're standing in love with someone, as an empath, you try to put healing energy out to them. Sometimes we can take their energy with us, and that's really what is not a good thing for us. Let's see, there are pet strands, connections to pets that we had, strands that connect to wild animals, like people say, oh, I just really like bears, or I just really, really like camels, or, or turkey, I mean, there are connections that are there with those animals, or you wouldn't feel that, you wouldn't feel that when you walk up to them. There's some kind of strand of connection there. It could be from a past life. It could be just you drawn because their energy is like your energy, There's totem animal strands, like me and my connection to Mr. Gorilla. He actually told me his name. His name is Manab. I know that's strange. I know I'm crazy, but listen, his name is Manab. And he is great, but I'm also connected to the turtle, because the turtle is slow too, I just have to take my time in doing the things that I need to do, There's connections between you and the earth, like people can go outside and step in the grass, you feel a connection when you step in that grass. Your feet go down, and that energy just pulls down and pulls you down. And you feel connected, like, I'm tempted, if I go outside of my bare feet, I just want to lay down, I just want to lay down and have full body on contact, but I can't get up, so I don't do it. I have too many problems that it's very difficult for me to get up from laying down on the ground, but boy, I wish I could. There's connections between your childhood and childhood things from your past. There's past life strands. There's contracts and commitment strands, where you have made a contract with someone, with spirit, to do certain things, when you were coming here, and you have to take care of those. You have to meet those, There's strands from the collective consciousness. One of the strands they talk to is mantras and prayer strands, like there's mantras that you can use that are that's one of them. And when you sit and do you don't realize that you are connecting to people all over the world that sit and go they're doing their mantra for connection to spirit, and that connection then is created to all these people who are out there doing the same thing. It's a wonderful feeling then, that's a really good connection, and there are people who are so full of sunlight and love, and and out there and just have this thing. Boy, I like those kind of people. Makes me feel good, you know. And I can really connect to them, you know. I do something to, you know, I go back in the past though, you know, and I connected to the negative stuff way more than I connect to the positive stuff. You know, I didn't know how to connect to the positive stuff because there was so much broken in me, you know. But let's see, there's strands from your children. Like me, that was where this was in the past 10 years. There were trauma of death, a death of my daughter-in-law, took breast cancer at 29. There was violence, anger was crazy here, you know, addiction, fear. The children had a tremendous amount of fear and loss and depression from the loss of their mother, you know, and those things all had tremendous amount of tie on me. When you saw me come into this circle, that's where I was, you know, 10 years of trying to stabilize an environment for these children, you know, and it was tough. And it's funny though, you know, I felt like they resented me so much, you know, and now it's been like 7 months since they moved out, and they sent me this card for Mother's Day. You know, I love you to the moon and back, Grandma. You know, I mean, they never did anything for me when they were here because they were so enmeshed in those other feelings, you know. But when they got out on their own and they're reestablished in a place, you know, and beginning again, they remembered me, which I really appreciated that, because I wasn't sure they were going to, you know, after all the times of me telling them, you know, you can't just lay in that bed all day. You have to get up. You have to do something with your life. You can't just do that. You know, you have responsibilities in the household, you know, all these stuff that I tried to do to keep these kids from sinking to the bottom, you know, and I was just worn out, and my empathic abilities, you know, went way overboard, and I didn't know how to fix it, you know. Let's see, we'll go back to, okay. Signs that you have heavy courting. That means courting that is negative or gray colored, you know, are chronic exhaustion, patterns that aren't yours. In other words, you know, you can, if you're normally you know, a person who is peaceful and able to do things, and you walk into a building and you feel all this strange, strong urge to do something crazy, obviously there's some kind of energy there that's speaking to you that's not yours, you know. That's not yours. You know. Random unwanted thoughts, that's happened to me too. Emotions that seem to control you, empaths will pick up on those kind of emotions. I mean, obviously there are people out there who are so messed up and have their energy is so messed up that they, you know, they murder people, they torture people, you know. Those are all emotions that they can't control. I mean, they are so out of control. Okay, clearing. Okay. Heavy cords continued is an unhealthy attachment to things, people, places. One of the ways that natives dealt with this was natives taught their children to give away their best things to others, so they would not develop an healthy attachment to things. You know, when a warrior went out to for his first kill, you know, his first deer or first animal he ever brought in for food for the village, he had to give that away. He was not allowed to keep that because he couldn't become attached to it because or overly proud of what he did, because that would create a division and a problem in the community, you know. So he had to get a lot of times they would divvy it up between a widow and children or some older people who needed that, you know. So the Native people were encouraged to give. The generosity is a very important part of Native culture, you know, and keeps them from getting overly attached to things, you know. And if someone comes in and wants something from you, wants something or eyes up something that you have and he's your best friend, guess what? You should give it to him, because you should not have that kind of attachment to those things, you know. Aching for past relationships is another symptom of heavy courting. That's when I was talking earlier about my 5 years of pining away for Danny, you know. You know, it's also the courting that happens when someone dies, grief courting, you know, when someone dies, and the person on earth is not present in their life anymore. They check out, they're not here. They're focusing so much on the past that they're not here. And that kind of strand actually was what keeps earthbound spirits here, because our emotional attachment is so strong to people who have passed. I know we have my husband has done a ceremony. It's called the passing over ceremony, where people are encouraged to not think about or concentrate on the loved one after a short period of time, with like 3 days, you know, and after that, they're not to be talking about that loved one. And they're supposed to kind of keep their homes in as much peace as possible, you know, and to show the loved one who has passed that it's okay to go onto the light, you know, that they don't have to stay here to make sure their family's okay, you know. You got, you know, the family was supposed to prove to that deceased loved one that they could keep their family together and they could have a good place to be, you know, in spirit. Okay. Let's see what we have here. Assessing your strands. Okay. This is where activating your intuition in order to feel them, you know. First thing, you need to trust your intuitive source. You know, some people feel their intuitions by a gut feeling. Others may feel a little voice speak to them. Others may feel just a little niggle that says something ain't quite right, you know. You need to activate that intuition and you need to connect to it, okay, in order to assess the strands that are on your body, you know, the connections, okay. Be willing to be wrong. In other words, the biggest block to intuition is fear of being wrong, you know, not trusting your gut, not trusting your own self, you know. Then you need to practice those intuitive skills and listen to those emotions and physical sensations. They're also indicators to watch for, okay. Here's a couple of questions to ask yourself. It tells you whether you're, it helps you to see whether you have some strong chords, you know. If you answer yes to these, then you need to work maybe on some of these things, you know. One is, have you given away your power to someone in an effort for that person to like you, you know. I did that to my husband. One day I knew I was supposed to do something and I was like, well, you really think that's all right? Do you think that's all right? I do this? And he said, well, you want to do it, you know. But I gave away my power instead of choosing because of my own, you know, I knew it was in my own heart to do it. You know, I gave away my power to him to decide, you know, which wasn't a good thing, you know. Has your need for approval ever overridden the needs of your soul? Oh boy, I'll tell you what, we've talked about this in our classes, haven't we? You know, that need for approval can be really overwhelming, you know. Do you enjoy getting to be right about a person or a situation you don't like? You know, that self-righteous feeling, you know, that means there's a chord there. It's this based on some kind of fear that's in you, you know. They wouldn't be attracted to you unless there was something already in you, you know. I mean, and I'm not talking about, you know, in a way that is degrading or saying something's wrong with you, something's bad with you. These are all natural things that happen, you know, and we've learned through self-love to deal with those emotions, you know, and to lessen their effect, you know, to release their effect on us. Okay. All right. Energy strands will be reestablished if you don't understand and heal why they're there, you know. Like what I was saying, you know, like energy attracts like energy. And if there's got to be something in negative in you for a negative strand to be that powerfully connected. Unforgiveness, anger, just any kind of negative, feeling can cause that connection to be even stronger, because like energy attracts like energy. Okay. Let's see, cutting the cords, one of the things that you begin by centering, yourself. Okay. Intent is the most important part, even if you don't feel it, and even if you aren't really able to visualize. Some people aren't able to visualize things, but if you have the intent in your heart to stop this relationship, this cord that's binding you and that's draining you, then you're in the right place, even if you can't quote see it. So one way to do that is enter into a meditative state. And you're best to be able to maintain that for at least 20 minutes so that you can be very focused on what's happening and your intent becomes very strong. Cutting the cord doesn't mean complete separation from someone, but allows for more energy and vitality to set clear boundaries, and your emotions are your emotions and not theirs. You don't identify and take on the other person's emotions, your own. That's what centering does for you. There's a couple other things that I talked about centering. Finding the still point is the same kind of thing, where you this is where your intuition and creativity originate, where balance is achieved, and where relaxation it comes in. I'm sure everybody here understands about meditation and how to calm yourself. I do a meditation that where obviously you heighten your muscles. Okay. Start from your feet and move up to your stomach, and you actually like arch your back and then let your back down. That helps to relax you. Okay. It actually makes you sink into the bed. Okay. And it helps to relax and take away some of the stress from your life. And it worked very well for me. And then use gratefulness, like be thankful. Think over in your head all the things that you're thankful for. And when you're that relaxed, you're like that. I can think of some things to be grateful for. The bed, my puppies, my home, warmth, basic needs are taken care of, So I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful. And when you get to that place of gratefulness, that's centering, where you are you. And you're in balance with your intuition and your creativity. Okay. Let's see. Grounding is where you connect to the earth to ensure that consciousness is not operating from other energetic forces. To ground means to visualize a thread of energy extending from the root chakra down into the earth. Imagining that it connects you to the healing and life sustaining power of the earth. Lean against a rock or a tree. That's a really good idea. Okay. And then centering is locating the core of consciousness in your body and drawing earth energy from below at the same time as drawing higher perception from above. So it's a flow, coming to the middle, from down below up to the center of the solar plexus where most of the attachments are, and down from above to connect. Okay. Feel the earth energy coming up through your feet and legs, and simultaneously sense the energy of the sun or the stars at night, flowing through the top of your head. I had a friend recently say that he calls it his lightning walk. David calls this his lightning walk, where he was out and he feels that connection to
the energy from above at the same time as feeling it from below, you know. Sorry about my phone. Okay, so let's get back to some of the things that we can, I'm getting late, some of the things you can do to remove the energy strands. I'm sorry I've talked too long. The first one is smudging. Everyone knows smudging. You know, you bring the smoke over your head and to clear your mind of all negativity. You bring the smoke over your eyes to clear your sight to see only good things. You bring the smoke over your ears to cover your ears so that you hear only the good things from your heart and your mouth, so that you speak the only good things in your heart, you know, so that you feel and energize and put out good energy. Okay, so smudging is a way to break off negative strands that are affecting you from the day, you know. Okay, here's another one. Use a feather like this, and use quick, short cutting movements, you know, like over where you feel the most negative connection. Okay, and if you do that, that can break off those cords that have affected you. I found this interesting. It said that birds are messengers between the spirit realm and the physical realm. So, and because the quill is an open tube, many cultures believe it serves as a channel for prayers and energy, like a pathway, you know. Quills are feathers are very important, you know. I love my feathers. Okay, here's another one. Obviously, when you do any of these things, you have to make sure that you fill up what was pulled off with good things, with love, you know, pour in the love from the universe, you know, and do that. This is one I really liked. Invoke the golden light. Okay. Imagine a golden ball of light in your hands. Okay, I do this with my hands. Okay, and then I could feel the energy build up in there, and you have an energy ball, you know, and imagine that golden ball of light. And this light is energy. Good energy is your divinity. It's your blood. It's the part of you that's connected to Creator. Okay, hold it over your head. Bring it up over your head, and slowly take it down over your entire body. Okay, the light, that energy is actually healing and protecting you. And here's the prayer that you can say when you do that. You say, I call upon the golden light of spirit to come forth with gratitude, and I ask that this light dismiss all that is not needed and purify and protect me in the months to come. You know, that's a prayer that you can use. Then you take the ball up from your body and bring it, bringing grounding earth energy into your auric field, and lift the ball up to the heavens, letting it float upward and away. So it goes down over you, connects to the earth, and then you bring up back energy from the earth. I know this sounds silly, but you know what? These kind of little tools, you know, are very important. You know, I mean, people are embarrassed to do hand movements, or you know, or take a bath, you know, or use a crystal, you know, but it's not supposed to be that way. I mean, that's only because, you know, we don't want someone to think we're a little strange, but that's okay. I'm already a little strange. So, and then this violet flame to melt the cords. Okay, this is supposed to be a really good one. The violet flame transmutes negative energy into positive, releases cords, and clears karma. Read from the book. It says, maybe I won't do that, but I'll go with some others. There are others. Tibetan bells, you know, when you listen to bells on YouTube and stuff, Tibetan bells. That's supposed to help break those chords. And you ring them until it has a clear sound. There's a couple others called the breath of fire and the waterfall sweep. And I mean, there's this book has tons of these things, you know, which makes me really happy because in the past, there's been a lot of times that I felt helpless and I didn't know what to do, you know. And I like having physical things to do and ceremonies to use my hands or my rattle or my, you know, my feather, you know, or my crystal to help me to transmute this energy and to become more centered. You know, there's shielding and which I'll share about that when I do the next time, I guess. But and then there's what they call oh, I don't know, they're like pouches, like there's talismans. Okay, that's what's the name, word for it, talismans, like black tourmaline, which is supposed to protect from dark energy, which I wear all the time, you know. There's making yourself a white light sphere around you, you know. There's shielding from mirrors, you know, which you create mirrors around you, and sea salt, sea lamps, you know.
Salt lamps, and essential oils, and stones. I mean, there's a lot of ways we can use earth items to help us to release the bad energies and cut those cords that are creating so much darkness for us. I had something happen to me real quick about 2
or 3 years ago, where I had a very strong incident where I was literally put in a position where I was being attacked by several men. And not in a physical way, but in a spiritual way, and in a way to tell you, you know, where they come to you and say, there's something wrong with you, you're messed up, you did this, you got on my Facebook and you put a post on my Facebook, you know. I mean, it was like a little post, it wasn't anything, you know. And he thought it was the worst thing in the world because you don't do that. And I had to pay for it. They wanted me somehow to pay for it by punishing me verbally and everything else, and that created a really strong cord of hurt between me and this other person. And it was like that first year, all I thought about off and on was that person and what he did to me and what had happened. You know, I mean, I had to come to a point of forgiveness where I could say, listen, you know, he did it because he was upset, you know, and that's the way he dealt with being upset. He attacks people, you know. And I had to forgive him, you know, because he didn't know any better. He was doing what he thought was right, you know. And then I had to forgive myself for reacting so badly, you know. And one of the things, the biggest thing I did was that fire ceremony where I blew all my feelings, all my hurt into that stick, and then I lit it on fire, you know, and it was taken up into the smoke, you know. There's a ceremony called the pine cone ceremony that the Lenape people use at certain times of the year, that they take a pine cone, and we did it on the equinox at the end of the year, December there, and you held the pine cone, and in that pine cone you put all the fears, all the problems, all the hurts from the previous year, you know. And then you had an opportunity to put them in the fire so that they would go up to the creator so that he could take care of them, you know. And you had to let go of the feelings and the attachments, you know, that were involved. But that's about all I have to say. I hope I wasn't gone way beyond. And I hope I was enough able to understand what I was talking about. I can be a little bit all over the place, you know, when I talk. But I can be a talker, that's for sure. So, I mean, if anybody has anything they like to say, you know, I'd appreciate it.
I think you did a wonderful job. Sorry, I had to go off you for a few minutes because I had some energy coming in that I had to deal with that was just hitting too hard. But I was listening to everything you said. I didn't leave the chat room. I'm so proud of you because you've come such a long ways. And this is what it takes, learning. You know, it is not for us to go to another teacher to learn this stuff.
Yeah.
It is for us to find what is right for us. That's the most important part, is because that's how you connect to everything. Okay, so like y'all you come to this class, y'all connect with me. Okay, that's an energy cord like you were talking about.
Yeah.
But if you can get that energy cord connected to Mother Earth, to Father Sky, let me tell you, you already know because you're experiencing it. And
Yeah.
you can feel it and see it upon you.
Yeah.
So I just want to say thank you because it's very awesome. And I would like you, like in another month, to continue studying about cutting cords and stuff.
Yes.
Okay, and do a lesson on how to do a
Uh-huh.
cutting cord.
How to do it. Okay.
How to do it.
How
And
to do
I'm gonna let you do that.
it.
And, I think you'll be really good at it because that's where you're heading. You're heading into that to really learn how to do that. And it's really important that all of us, each one of us, learn how to cut our own cords.
Mm.
You know, and the one about the sexual cords, there is a very important ceremony for women for that we don't do. But
Yeah.
I don't have any questions. I just wanted to tell you that I think you did a wonderful job. And thank you for being
Thank
the
you.
host today.
All right. Thank you.
I wanted to thank you, Pam. Gosh, you've come a long way, baby.
I have. I really have.
Yes, a lot of great tools. A lot
Mhm.
of great tools. And the ability to recognize the cords and the attachments, what's healthy and what isn't. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing that with us. That was really good medicine.
Thank you. Thank you. I mean, I just need, you know, I am still learning energetically where these cords are on me, you know, and how to free them. I mean, it's something I think that is something we have to work at. You know, it's not something that, I mean, you go through life and just like Shahawin was saying, that energy came in and hit her, you know, I mean, that you can feel totally great. And then all of a sudden one of those comes in. It's like, there's a whole section that I didn't cover, which was on, what was it on vampire energies and some other energies that are negative energies that can be sent to us, you know. I didn't really cover that one because I wanted to just be able to understand where natural energies were, you know. And I mean, if you keep your energy high enough, those negatives can't affect you, you know. Your energy can be so strong that just pushes them right back out if you keep your energy good. So
Yes.
I'm still learning.
Yes, hold your energy in unconditional love vibration, and that will, now it won't stop it from hitting you, but it will actually it has to vibrate off of it because it cannot connect to that type of energy because it's not that vibration. But
Yeah.
you will still get hit. You know,
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah, because people can send out energy at you, negative energy. They can throw it at you, you know, and you need to recognize it when it comes and deal with it, you know, which that's something to still learn about exactly how to do that. Shahawin, what did you do out there when you saw that energy come to you?
Well, I had to put myself in the bubble and raise my vibration level. So it took me a few minutes, because I was concentrating on everybody. Everybody's energy in a group
Mhm.
is, we're learning how to carry our group in unconditional love, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's energy is on a different vibration in the group today for some reason. And so when this energy come in, I had to, get off the view so that I could raise my vibration so I could get back home where I could even talk. Because it just slammed me really hard.
Yeah.
when it come
You're
in.
very sensitive to it then.
But it was a download from spirit. It wasn't it was not an attack or nothing like that. It was just a download coming in, and we're having a lot of those.
I was just telling Spirit yesterday, I was saying, look, listen, I could use a few good downloads about now.
Be careful what you ask for, and you need to ask for them to come in slow, not fast, where they cause you to be dizzy-headed and light-headed and everything else, because they will give it to you. You ask for it. Look, it's like the universe. I told you, the universe is like a magic genie. Okay, and you're up there rubbing the magic genie lip saying, I need this, I want this. And guess what? The universe doesn't put labels on anything. So it's going to give you what you think. So just remember that. That's why I say get out of the stinking thinking, because if you have negative thoughts about yourself, you're rubbing the magic genie lip up there going, hey, and guess what? That's all that you're gonna get back.
Yeah.
Like-minded energy and like-minded energy attracts like-minded energy, and we want to all get up in unconditional universal love, because we got the wheel coming in right now.
Yeah, that's what I thought that song did that though, didn't it? I thought that song was really good. It really was good at bringing in unconditional love.
Yeah.
I just sat there and listened to it and going, oh, it feels wonderful.
Yeah, that was the perfect song. It was beautiful.
Yeah, I love that song. That just popped into my YouTube, and I was just playing around trying to figure out something, and put in their energy, and guess what? That one popped up. I loved it. So thank you for listening to me today. And I hope I did. I hope
Pam's going to be teaching next week too. So.
Yeah, we're going to continue some of this stuff, but then we're going to get into energy in buildings and in places and ceremonies to remove those energies, and what I did here. I wanted to share what I did here too, which really made a big difference. My husband said we went for walks with the dogs, and it was like the dogs are so calm, they weren't calm like that before, He says, boy, what did you do?
Why?
Yeah, because they felt it.
Well, yes, and your dogs are your protectors. So that what you did is you helped them be able to calm down, because they were always on guard trying to protect you.
Yeah. Yeah, I have to tell you what my gorilla did in my one part of my ceremony. I could see him, because I do have some clairvoyance. I'm able to see it, and I also have clairaudience and clairsentience and the other one is when knowing. I have all those to some degree in my life, and I have had those from the time I was very young, because it guided me a good many times and pulled me out of the garbage, and when I didn't listen to it, I was sorry, so yep. So I love everybody.
Yeah, so after Pam teaches it, then Susan's going to come in and teach a class after Pam. So thank you so much for today's class.
Thank
you.
It
was wonderful. And
I hope I didn't bore anybody.
Have any questions for Pam? if nobody has any more questions, Rodney, I guess you could take us out with the prayer.
All right. That was beautiful, Pam. Thank you so much. And that song, that's
Thank
like
you.
one of my new favorite songs ever. It was just so, I could look up on my YouTube library and download some albums, and it was moving. It was very beautiful. It was touched.
Yeah,
It was beautiful.
thank you.
Thank you for your
Thank-
beautiful message. All right.
You're
Thank you, Pam. I really enjoyed it too. There's just so much that I can't think of just one thing, but I just loved it.
Oh, I hope so. I want to bless you guys when I talk, you know. I just want you to be blessed and encouraged like I was.
And thank you. No, and it's just beautiful to know that, it's that to know that you struggled and that you came through it. And, it gives everybody hope.
Yeah. There is a way out. There really, really is, you know. And I am just so excited about that because I live a different life now. I do. I live a different life and I'm so much happier than I was. So it's done miracles for me. Thank you, Shahawin.
You're welcome. It goes with the song. We are the world. We are the children. And, we got to make a better place so we can all live in it.
Yeah.
Unity and love, baby. All right, take us out.
All right. I'll close with prayer. Father Sky, Mother Earth, all our ancestors, all our relatives, we call upon you at this time and we thank you. We thank you so very much for this most sacred circle. We thank you so very much for your words conveyed through our sister Pam. We thank you for the message that she was able to deliver about energy strands and helping us to become more aware of these connections and how some are good and some are bad, and how we need to remove some of these strands so that we may walk in a better way, a more pleasing way in your sight. We thank you for this circle. We ask that, close this loop and protect each of us throughout this week. Watch over us and guide us in a good way and help us to walk in a way that is pleasing in your sight. We love you and we thank you.
Oh,
Bye.
bye.
Thank you again.